Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET Now, a show where we talk about all the stocks buzzing based on news flow as well as on technicals. But before we move ahead, let's bring on board NS Venkatesh, who is the Chief Executive at AMFI, to talk about the numbers that we've got for the month of August. A very good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. Firstly, let's talk about the SIP inflow numbers. How can we not actually talk about that stellar number? It's above the 15,000 crore rupees mark. For the second straight month on a trot. In fact, it's at a record high level as well for the month of August. With this sort of a strong SIP inflow number, if we could summarize how the investor confidence is looking like, and do you expect this number to scale past the 15,000 crore rupees mark in month of September and touch, in fact, 16,000 crore rupees SIP inflow?
The SIP numbers are really good in the sense that we have touched an all-time high of 15,800 crores during this month, which is 500 crores above the last month. We see the retail investors reposing faith and trust in the mutual fund industry, and they are using the SIP as an investment vehicle to participate in the India story. And we believe that going ahead, we will see the SIP numbers on an increasing trend.
Hi, Mr. Venkatesh. This is Shrishti also joining in. If we talk about the equity flows that have come in at a 5-month high level, so what is the reason for this as per you? And also, if you can highlight which segments has shown the maximum inflows this time?
The equity flows this time is net flows is around 20,000 crore, and mainly it is concentrated in the mid cap, small cap, flexi cap funds. And the small cap is showing an increasing trend. It is essentially because the investors find that the correction which had happened in this small cap as well as mid cap gives them an opportunity to participate in their upward story, and that is why you are finding people putting money into the small cap and mid cap.
Mr. Venkatesh, how can I not actually ask you about the outlook that you're envisaging ahead? We are all seeing the Nifty and the kissing distance from that record high levels. No doubt on the Nifty futures, we've already scaled past the 20,000 mark. But what's your outlook ahead, going ahead for the markets right now?
We believe that the outlook for the equity market will be good for the simple reason that we are entering into the busy season of the credit policy. And with the monsoons being near normal, I would say that the economy will do well. The inflation is also being brought under control by the RBI actions. So we believe that the corporate earnings will show better numbers and the corporate profitability is expected to improve. So because of this, we believe that the economy doing well, with the corporate earnings doing well, we will see the equity markets also doing reasonably well.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Venkatesh, for joining us and helping with your take on to the SIP inflows going ahead, and what sort of segments that have given the boost in this month's number as well. Thank you so much for joining. But moving on, viewers, on the Market Fatafat edition then, and let's shift back focus to all the stocks that are buzzing in trade today. And on to the technical front, let me welcome on board Kunal Rambhia, founder and fund manager at The Streets. Very good afternoon, Kunal, and thank you so much for your time. And let us talk about your first counter that is on your radar. You have picked up HUL. We are just talking about the movement in the FMCG space. They are also showing some resilient moves today. So what exactly on HUL are you spotting?
Very good afternoon to everyone. So the observation on the HUL is just same as what we discussed last week. The counter is consolidating near 2500 zone. On the 11th of August, we saw the first bottom near to 2500. Counter bounced back to 2600 and came back to 2500, made the double bottom formation, and today in move, it's showing a decisive bullish candle. So it seems to be a good bottom for now. One can initiate a buy on the same with the stop loss of 2500. I think this counter is now getting ready for 2600 and 2650 in next couple of weeks' time.
All right, so that's the take coming in on HUL. Ankita, let's talk about Prince Pipes. Why is this one in focus?
pipes is in focus today. It is seeing an uptick of 0.5% right now. It is on the back of the management meet that they had, and Nuvama has come out with a note on that. And they feel that the recent market share loss was due to over premiumization in certain markets, and the gap with the leader in CPVC and PVC has already narrowed for them. Now, the Q1 FY24 growth, impacted by the was impacted by the ERP rollout, and the ERP implementation has now been completed. Now, they took the price cost correction measures, of course, and they are confident of growing in line with the leading players. They also feel that the management is confident of a 12 to 15% mid to long term volume growth versus the industry, industry number of 8 to 9%, and the margin guidance is pretty conservative, and it is maintained at 12 to 14%. And on the back of this, on the back of the note and the management meet takeaways, the stock is in focus today.
All right, moving on then, and let's talk about railway stocks, be it IRFC, be it RVNL, be it IRCON, all of them are surging in trade today. In fact, IRFC was locked in the upper circuit by 10% last time I checked. In fact, and also it hit a record high level in today's trading session. Remember, the world leaders announced the India, West Asia, Europe infrastructure corridor at the G20 summit. Prime Minister Modi, US President Joe Biden announced the decision to create a massive infrastructure corridor linking India to Europe via West Asia. This is what Biden had to say. That he said, as a key part of the corridor, we are going to invest in ships and rails, and that extends from India all the way to the Europe, connected by UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, as well as Israel. Also, he said that building ports across 2 continents, unlocking endless opportunities, making it far easier to trade as well as exports. And back of that, you've seen even RVNL hit a fresh record high levels in today's trading session. IRCON International also soaring in trade. Also, given the fact the shipping also is included in this and the ports is included in this, you saw even container corp see a good buzz, right see a good buzz, all of them actually buzzing in trade. So we've got a very healthy outlook coming in for the railway counters, isn't it, Shrishti? And we also spoke, in fact, to RVNL this morning, isn't it?
Well, yes, RVNL is delving into the marine space, and a high proprietary corridor will aid the company. And those are the words coming in from Rajesh Prasad, Director Operations at RVNL. So let's go across and listen to him.
Till last year, we were contributing more than 30% of all the railway infrastructures in the country. And in the shipping corridor, we have already started executing the marine works at Maldives. See, these particular corridor has just now been announced. A lot of things have to be done. In fact, the timeline which has been given is that within 60 days, all the countries, the representative of all the stakeholders will meet again, and they will draw the roadmap. So nothing more than this is available in the public domain. This will take some time, but it will be a high priority corridor, and this will be executed on very fast track. And every country which are getting associated, the Middle East and all the countries part of the Europe, they are very keen. Even the US is very keen. I can tell you that in time to come, within 60 days, the roadmap will be drawn. And regarding the revenue and when exactly will be implemented, it will take some time. The project life cycle starts with the concept, design, the estimate, the studies, feasibility studies, financial studies, and then it really gets executed at site. So it will take some time, but we are very hopeful.
Okay, moving on, let's get back to the stocks then. And Kunal, the next counter that you have picked up is from the IT space is TCS. All these large cap IT names are holding on to itself, and the last time I checked, TCS was also in green. So tell us, what on the charts are you spotting for this particular name?
So on the TCS front, if you look at the daily chart, there is a falling wedge formation, and the breakout came on Thursday. That breakout was at around 34.45 to 34.50. There was a retesting on the Friday, and today is a continuation again. And if you look at the today's behavior, a sharp surge in the price in the beginning itself, and now retracement a bit, but that's again retesting of the breakout. So considering the formation, I think one can initiate a buy at 34.60. Stop loss can be 34.40, and the first target on the counter can be 35.50. And now we'll keep revising this counter as the target as the counter continues the upsurge.
Okay, moving on, and let's shift focus to Craftsman Automation then, because for today ICICI Securities has initiated a coverage on this particular counter for a target price that's over 5,000 rupees, wherein 5,557 rupees is what they are targeting, and you can see the stock is holding up a gains of around 3%. What they are saying is that the company is undergoing diversification to reduce its CV exposure and improve their ROS by doing casting, machining of engine cylinders, blocks, heads for SUV makers like big brand names like Hyundai, Kia as well as M&M. They are generating around 8% of the free cash flow per sales with 22% of ROS, and this would have them in position to deliver steady fundamentals and sail through the CV down cycle in a smoother manner. The company has financial bandwidth to do acquisitions in a tune of 1,500 to 1,800 crores in the next couple of years. They have done some acquisition in the past as well, which has delivered good returns for the company itself, and they are positive on the outlook ahead. So that was ICICI Securities initiation impact that you can see on Craftsman Automation.
All right, let's straight actually head across to Finance Minister right now. There's a joint statement by Finance Minister and UK's Finance Minister after the 12th Economic and Financial Dialogue. Let's listen into what they're saying.
Going on at the moment. That limits my ability to comment, but what I can say is that Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has raised this issue with Chinese Premier Li Qiang and expressed our very serious concerns about what happened.
So is that it? Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, so that's the Finance Minister as well as UK Chancellor of Exchequer actually talking. What's the brief of that particular briefing was the fact that Finance Minister said that some discussion has taken place on FTA with the United Kingdom, and they're looking forward to conclude the FTA negotiation as soon as possible. This is very crucial and important when it comes to the trade and businesses of both the nations. So that's what we've actually concluded right now. But moving on then, Harsh, VRL Logistics, why is this in focus?
Well, Cheryl, VRL Logistics is in focus because, we saw a couple of blocks happening on Friday, and we have details of that. We've seen Anand Vijay Sankeshwar, who's part of the promoter group, sell around 35 lakh shares of VRL Logistics, roughly 4%, which is why even the stock was down on Friday. But on Friday also information started trickling through post the block deal data that came out that SBI Mutual Fund has bought 19 lakh shares in 2 blocks on the BSE. So you've seen those block deals come through, and SBI Mutual Fund has taken interest to that. And so despite the promoter sell-off, you are seeing SBI Mutual Fund buy, and therefore the stock is up and away 2.5+% higher in trade today.
On, and let's shift focus to what's happening in Wockhardt Pharma. Kunal, this particular counter is down about 2.5% in trade today. Tell us how the chart's looking like for this one.
But at the same time, if you look at the weekly chart of Wockhardt Pharma last 2 weeks, the counter in all went up by almost 13%, and this has been a broader consolidation happening on the chart since May 2022, where the counter has not really decisively crossed 260 mark. By any chance now, it's a conditional call if the counter manages to close about 260. I think the new rally is gonna emerge on the counter. So with the stop loss of 255 and the closing about 260, one can initiate a buy with the first conservative target of 300 levels, and then again we'll keep revising these levels on the higher side as the target gets achieved.
All right, moving on then, Ankita, let's talk about HDFC Bank. Why is this in the news today?
That's correct, Cheryl. HDFC Bank is in focus today. It is on the back of a note that Goldman Sachs came out with, and they have maintained a buy with a target price of 2,050 rupees per share. And according to them, the impact of ICRR on HDFC Bank would have been to the tune of some 400 crores, and they feel that the overhang around the impact of ICRR is now gone. Now they feel that the fall in share prices is far more magnified than what the EPS impact warrants, and they continue to remain positive on HDFC Bank. And on the back of that, we're seeing an uptick of 0.5% coming in on the stock.
Okay, let's shift focus to one more IT name then. And Kunal, what's your take coming in on Wipro? This particular counter was also holding itself in green. So what are the charts telling you on this?
So we have been discussing about Wipro, I think, since somewhere in the mid of July, and the first breakout was at 412. Then we discussed that around 420, and now this counter is at 434. I think this is again a fresh breakout on the chart. One can initiate a buy at this present level, also maintain the stop loss of 422 with a massive curve formation on cards. I think that now the targets can be placed at 450, and above that, when again we'll keep revising the target. It's a curve formation, advisable to hold the position even for long term.
All right, moving on. Schaeffler India, that particular counter is in focus because the company has completed the acquisition of entire stake in KRSV Innovative Auto Solutions. So on back of that, you saw stock actually seeing good uptake. It was higher than 2.5% earlier, but right now continues to hold on to 2.5% gains as we speak.
Okay, let's shift focus to SBI then, and this banking major is supporting the benchmark indices. Kunal, how are you spotting SBI very close to that 600 mark? Do you believe that that's the next stop for SBI then?
Again, a broader consolidation on the chart, and that consolidation breakout was at 580. This breakout came on Thursday evening. Of course, we had two follow-through buyings again, and today, since morning, it's in sideways consolidation. I would consider this to be a new breakout again with the stop loss of 575. One can initiate a buy, and the target now can be 610 on the chart.
Okay, that's a buy coming in on SBI, but let's shift focus to what's happening with Persistent, because this particular counter, wherein Citi has come up with a note, they maintain their sell rating on this stock with the target price way below than the current market price, that is 3,790 rupees. They have also opening a downside 90-day catalyst watch, where they highlight that the Q2 results are expected to be soft versus the street expectations, and the stock is not factoring the near-term softness. Decision making has not improved, and the valuations now are at a 50% premium to NSE IT and almost at the peak valuations, and that's why they have come up with this note, and you can see the clear impact onto the stock price. At the start of the day, the stock was higher by around 1%, but now seem to be drifting lower with a cuts of 0.5%.
All right, that's Persistent for you. But Kunal, let's talk about NMDC and how is this one placed on the chart, because we know a lot actually depends on the way how the commodity cycle works out for NMDC. A lot of the news when it comes to global nations as well. But if you look at NMDC, 24% uptick, and the most of it has been over the last 1 month only.
Absolutely. So the beginning of the month, this counter was trading at 124, and now it's at 145. The strength is really very high. In fact, the last 4 days of sideways consolidation formed a flag formation on the chart. The breakout got confirmed today again. So one can initiate a buy on the counter right now with the stop loss of 140 and the target being 155, and that's being a very conservative target. It can soar up to 165 to 170 also.
Okay, moving on, and Harsh, coming to you, you have picked up two counters from the same group, that is Ujjivan Small Finance Bank and Ujjivan. Tell us, what are you spotting on these names?
Well, yes, so Investec has come out with a very interesting report. What they've suggested is that the merger for these two, in fact, it's a reverse merger where Ujjivan Small Finance Bank is going to take over Ujjivan, and Ujjivan Financial shareholders will receive shares in Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. So essentially, this takeover is set to happen over the next 3 to 4 months. This reverse merger, once completed, offers an arbitrage opportunity to shareholders of Ujjivan Financial. And you can see Ujjivan Financial is up 2% in trade today. The arbitrage opportunity here is roughly 12% and therefore, of course, the only risk to this is the event risk, the event of the reverse merger not happening, which seems currently unlikely, and the microfinance risk, which Investec sees that Ujjivan Small Finance largely in that microfinance segment. It's a cyclical segment, and therefore they believe that that risk is yet to play out. They've maintained a buy with a target price of 56 on Ujjivan Small Finance Bank.
All right, let's talk about Concor, Kunal. I did speak about this particular counter when I did speak about the railway stocks and why they're buzzing. Also, the shipping counters also that will likely benefit from what's been announced in the G20 summit. But Concor on the charts, let's not forget that this one also has a lot of news flow at play, where depending on that, the stock actually performs. But on the charts, are you seeing positive signs that irrespective of what the news flow is, the stock will go higher?
Absolutely. So since January 2023 so far, the counter was not able to cross 715 mark. It tried 3 times, but it was a failure. And today, with a gap up opening, this counter has decisively crossed that particular resistance zone. So on the formation front, it seems to be like a cup and handle formation with the breakout of 715 and the stop loss of 695, which now we need to trail little higher to 705. One can initiate a buy, and the first target on this counter can now be 775 to 780.
Moving on then, Ankita, you have picked up Godrej Properties. The stock is almost flattish in trade right now. Tell us, what are you picking on this one?
That's correct, Shrishti. The stock is pretty flattish in trade today. But the interesting thing that came out today was a note by Motilal Oswal on Godrej Properties, and they have maintained a buy on the counter with a target price of 1,915 rupees. According to them, they have, they retain their pre-sales projections of FY 24-25 on the back of strong launch pipeline. Furthermore, the company has also indicated about the possibility of launching projects that are currently not included in the existing pipelines. Also, the acceleration in bookings has been supported by record BD efforts and improved profitability. Now, this positive trend can be attributed to the increased sale of delivery and a higher portion of completions from projects added post FY18. Now, they also feel that during the quarter, the company has successfully added some 64 odd billion worth of projects and is on track to add 150 billion of INR of projects in FY24. Now, this will continue to provide strong visibility on the pre-sales growth, and on the back of that, Motilal Oswal is maintaining a buy on the counter. Stock pretty flattish in trade right now, but there's a note coming in that maintains a buy on the counter with a target price of 1,915 rupees per share.
Alright, moving on, let's talk about not one but two stocks that are in focus on back of news flows as well as on back of block deal. Triveni Engineering saw a huge block deal of about 4.1% stake that took place earlier in the day. On back of that, you have that one in focus. Let's not forget, also on back of ethanol blending story, also you have Triveni Engineering that's in focus. And Ilcon International, that one also saw a sizable block deal take place earlier in the day. About 14.2 lakh shares also changed hands in via block deal. So both of these counters did have a news flow that backed the move, but also you had the block deal that actually is at play for both of them.
Okay, moving on then, and Harsh, coming to you, what's happening with Sigachi Industries? This counter is in focus. Tell us why so.
Well, yes, so Sigachi had, of course, come up with a stock split, 1:10 in fact. So for every share of Sigachi you hold, you'll get 10 shares now of Sigachi. It's a simple stock split that's going to happen. Effective date, the record date for that has now been announced. It's going to be 9th of October. Of course, the stock on the back of that news seeing a bit of a spike, 1% up. Of course, that positive news, and Sigachi is gaining on the back of that.
All right, that was Sigachi Industries for you, but actually, and that was the last stock on this edition of Market Fatafat. Thank you so much, Kunal, Harsh, Ankita, as well as Samit for joining us on the show and taking our viewers through all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition. Goodbye from Shrishti, myself, and the team that put the show together. Stay tuned. Closing trades coming up next.